I know there are a million videos about the Seiko Snowflake online already, but unlike those videos that always show a pristine one or one that has just been bought, this one has been used and abused for years. So for all of you wondering how Zaratsu polish and Seiko titanium hold up to daily wear, this is a video for you. As for me, I've reviewed quite a large share of watches on my channel, but never had the opportunity to review a Grand Seiko. The closest I got to it was my vintage King Seiko 45, so I couldn't pass an opportunity like this, especially a Snowflake, which, in my opinion at least, is the most important model in their lineup. Snowflake is a D model that made Grand Seiko known outside the small circle of Seiko fans. It is to Grand Seiko what Submariner is to Rolex, the first and for many only model they think of when they think of Grand Seiko. If it wasn't for the popularity of this model, GS would have stayed the best kept secret of the watch world. Even though this model placed GS on the horology map, which resulted in them becoming more mainstream, more expensive, and because of that slightly less cool, I'm glad it happened, as it has resulted in many other models that I'm sure would not exist if Grand Seiko stayed a Japan-only offering. But back to the watch. After spending a few hours behind the macro lens and finally seeing in person the revered finish quality of the hands, markers, and dial, I have to admit the hype over this model is more than justified. Every single detail is done to perfection, and the way the hands and markers shimmer as you move the watch around is something no camera can capture. You really have to see this in person to truly appreciate it. It literally dances with light, and the complexity of facets on the hands and markers combined with how massive and three-dimensional the hands look make my Rolex look and feel pedestrian. This truly is a piece of high horology. What I didn't expect to like even more than the finish quality is the spring drive movement. A technical masterpiece that combines mechanical energy to create a small current to regulate the movement of the seconds hand by applying a magnetic brake, which results in a continuously spinning balance wheel, unlike the traditional beating one that stops and goes. The result is a smooth, uninterrupted glide of the seconds hand that is mesmerizing to say the least. Whenever I wanted to change the position of the watch for the next recording, it resulted in me just standing there in silence, watching that seconds hand glide before I would finally snap out of it and continue with what I was doing. I kid you not, I could just watch the glide for hours, not needing anything else in life at those moments. Not everything is perfect though. Being titanium makes it very light, which is okay for the case, but it makes the bracelet feel cheap somehow. And truth be told, it isn't on the same level as the rest of the watch, but it is far from being bad. In fact, the only bad thing about it is the fact it doesn't come with on-the-fly adjustment. But I would switch the watch to a strap anyway, so that doesn't really bother me that much. Also, the links are not held with screws as you would expect at this price point. Some might have a problem with that, but I personally don't, as I had more problems with watches that use screws than those using ordinary friction pins. Despite being completely mesmerized with it, I have to admit it is not a Grand Seiko for me. Being 40mm with a white all-dial design, it simply wears too big on my small 6.5-inch wrist, while the flat side of the case makes the whole watch look too chunky for what it is. And it is chunky at 12.5mm. I prefer smaller and thinner watches, and I find my vintage King Seiko to be miles ahead when it comes to size, proportions, and case shape. So the incredible dial and stunning movement are simply not enough for me to get one. But I do think I will be adding a Grand Seiko with a spring drive movement to my collection this year. It just won't be a Snowflake, despite being as impressive as it is. A week with this watch has been incredible, and it reminded me why Seiko was the first watchmaker I truly admired, and one that really belongs shoulder to shoulder with the greatest brands of all time. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and until the next video, bye.